Mill pond green grass, neatly in square, beside the wide sea road. We meet to go there, hold hands and look well down to the prom. Smooth, empty greyness, where we all came from. Darkened cafe, cut through with heartbeats, drums filling the bay, rushing now upwards, fingers in ears, as quickly as dare to, confronting the fears, to Madame Piano's house, digits at the ready. Whole half an hour of slow but steady, money exchanged and plans for next week, off towards Tesco land, rewards to seek, past the old sea bathing where Nan Creed was sent, twice around the daffodils, all now for rent. Waiting to meet us with warm drinks and putters at the end of the evening, our crazy golf nutters.
If you've been up all night and cried till you have no more tears left in you, you will know that there comes in the end a sort of quietness. You feel as if nothing was ever going to happen again. The wild grass has gone the most beautiful warm colour, and the tips are soft and fluid in the wind. Flocks of birds rise and fall from silhouettes. Tinges of pink and cyan break the soft rolling clouds, light and pink and gold, like Constable. October is marigold, and yet a glass half full of wine left out to the dark heaven all night by dawn has dreamed a premonition of ice across its eye, as if the ice age had begun. It has been wild and wuthering, the apples hanging congruous on bare trees' old yellow skin. The world's whole sap is sunk, the general balm the hydroptic earth hath drunk, whither as to the bed's feet life is shrunk, dead and interred. This wintry day news of a new life is at the heart of my thinking, along with my loss. The same broken creature on my path in had gone on my return. Death doesn't last long here. Everything full of life and hope. The fog seems to augment the bird song. The wetness draws out the smell of vegetation. Moisture dripping from trees, catkins like golden rain, snowdrop, pussy willow, death interspersed with crocuses, primrose, celandine, and fresh green shoots emerging from the good earth. A linseed blue carpet on the landscape, massive clods of damp earth, quite soft underfoot, but with a strange stability, sensuous and tactile. I like walking in mud, and I'll walk on it if I want to. Till, with a sudden sharp hot stink of fox, it enters the dark hole of the head. Alone today in this steaming heat, but love is on my mind. Oh, to lay down in the soft grass, hear the larks are rising, bees, seabirds rising, falling to the sound of hearts pounding. Pounding of soft shoe on grass, concrete, gravel, mud, shingle. Mind free, unfettered, drifting, wandering, floating, ethereal. Breathy, rhythmic, resolute, earthy, earthly body. Weary, aching, elated, relieved, aching, detached, despondent, disappointed, aching, ashamed, aching, accepting, aching, aching.
Gorillaz, what an amazing gig. That oversized deck chair that everybody took it in turns to sit in and have their photo taken. Now we can go out, but not out, and only if we know we can and aren't able to work from home, but you can't get on public transport unless you have to. Glorious sunshine to be out, but not out. A woman is watching the sea and taking photos, and I think she's come to find something. She isn't sure what, but she'll know when she sees it, and she'll capture it with her camera. She'll own it by owning the image. We're all laughing at the sea. Are we looking for something too? We're compelled to take a shell, a memento, to prove we were there, and we see the faces in the stones and shells. All that glitters is not gold or silver. Dozens of gas canisters dance and shimmer, all that remains of a previous evening's gatherings, groups congregating together in the safe knowledge they're invincible and immune to everything. This is life, living life to the full, sunset, sky, sea, booze, drugs, mates, feet in the sand, head in the sand. Barking punctures the silence, and all the dogs look the same, at jolly long-haired barrels of roly-poly excitement. The dogs make the women walking them happy, and the women make the dogs happy. I wonder if the women would like to roly-poly in the sand too. I want to roly-poly in the sand. The town square is empty, despite it being morning. The sky is glorious and the gulls are noisy, and I wonder if they're noisier now because our silence is increased by our absence. Manhole covers peppering the pavement. I count 21 on that tiny street. And when I took my daughter for a walk when she was about 4 years old, we just walked the short distance from our house to the corner of Old Ford Road. It took over half an hour, because I'd asked her to describe what she saw on the pavement. At first, she saw only the paving slabs, and then she realised there was so much more to see. Manhole covers, chalk marks from roadworks, wildflowers, patterns in the cracks of the pavement, colours, textures, slow looking. A cat at the window looks at us with utter disdain. The window's open, and it's making sure we walk by. It holds eye contact with us until it's certain we will continue without disturbing it any further. We have been chastised.
Will nature prevail? The Flanners' Walk. Sunday, 31st of May, 6:19 in the evening. The sun is still high. The shell grotto, the dank smell, millions of shells, placed by an unknown hand over time. The pagan ritual, the smell of seances, spirits, and the ancient underworld. Incense or nearby honeysuckle, sickly and earthy. A bird chirping, will nature prevail? Subterranean cavern of shells, previous life in the sea, tropical seas and Margate coast. The streams and the sewers, the network runs into more tunnels, threading their way inland from the sea, veins and arteries of salty blood. The water runs below ground. Will nature prevail? Above the ground, the houses and homes, the bricks and cement, pebble dash, slate, lime mortar, the scaffold, the cement, soot, pollution and dust, the chimneys and roofs, sketch the skyline. Footsteps where people have passed before, yet the roads have changed. Tarmac made for cars, not soft-footed pedestrians nor horse and carriage past. A warehouse, a blocked brick archway, tar roof ghost line, neighbouring building long demolished. A cast iron street sign, window roof light broken, cracked, filled with foam, a temporary fix many years ago. A door and window blanks, window tax, daylight robbery. History is here, yet time has not stood still. A cross-section of houses, densely populated, multicoloured, faded seaside town. Condensation on the windows, a ghostly breath of people inside. Archways, doorways, grates on a wall, the TV aerials, scattered with smoke scales in the sky. Graffiti motifs, ownership. What are they trying to say? No matter, words fading away. The rush of the sea becomes louder, closer, overground now, open sea. Will nature prevail? An artist house, the sign of a paintbrush and palette, plants, dolls, puppets, a tandem bike, Colander turned lampshade, curios. Sign reads, Penny rope bedchamber, you'll look sweet in pure white sheets with my bunk on top of you. Meandering to the main road, Christian Book Centre, Thanet Tasty Chicken, Northumberland Hall, net curtains frame an open Bible in the window. Luke 21, the widow's offering, 2 copper coins, ferryman's tax, gift giving from poverty, not wealth. Luke 21 continued, signs from the end of an age, temple adorned with beautiful stones, not shells. War, revolution, destruction, but the end will not come right away, Jesus said. Zion Place, nearing the end of our journey. Supermarket Mecca, Aldi. The avenue looks out to the sea, a wide expanse. Wind, waves, sea. Will nature prevail?
What if I walked backwards and grew my calf muscles from the top down to make upside down pears? What if I walked backwards from metal cliffs with my toes touching the floor first, followed by the balls of my feet and an arch that unravelled to a heel? What if I walked backwards and couldn't see but knew where I was going and managed to avoid people who weren't talking on mobile phones and were looking where they were going? What if I walked backwards, scrolling along the pavement while people scrolled on their phones, scrolling along the bumping into me and my backwards bones? What if I walked backwards from the metal cliffs where pictures hang on walls and poets make little riffs and rhymes go through the sea line to crash against the walls? What if I walked backwards to the feet of my ball, to the balls of my feet, walking backwards on the street, cars zipping past, going way too fast, because I'm backwards, because I'm walking backwards, I can see them going but not coming. I can feel them behind me, like a bass guitar strumming, an electric guitar so I can feel the reverberation, verbing like a murmuration of birds above the station, Margate Station, not so far away, from the metal cliffs that you also might say were waves, metal waves that crash against sandy shore and stay because they don't have to move because they are heavy and they're in everybody's way. Old school people didn't like the waves, they only liked watery versions, the watery versions of waves that no one saw as perversions of a coastline that needed desperately some money, but they thought, not money for that, we want to eat more curry. Can't you open another curry house so we can have more curry mouse? Curried mouse on a Sunday morning, curried mouse in your house while you're yawning. Sunday morning eating chips on the beach with the industrial waves crashing at you but not moving. And what if I walked backwards from the seashore, along this pavement path with geometric maze just below my arse? What if I walked backwards from the place we collect food and went in there backwards for a salad peruse and picked up tomatoes with the back of my hand and rolled them to my elbow and thought about a sand, which I might eat once I get home, filled with tomatoes while I make rhymes on the phone? What if I walked backwards past the gardens of pleasure that to some might look like a dungeon of white supremacist leisure centre for white people of old to come and parade their gold on parade, what a charade. I wonder what's 9 carat and I wonder what's made of orangeade in cups. What if I walked backwards drinking orangeade in a cup and spilt it down my front because it was summer and it was hot, and I spill it down my front and everyone says, "Wow, Alex, what's up?" I said, "I'm walking backwards. The balls of my feet are stretching along the arch which is unfolding to the heel in a peculiar manner, so the concert is giggling around underneath the soles of my feet, and I'm aiming for the palace of plastic, past the pleasure principle, so I can fill my bags up with tomatoes, but I forgot my recycling bag, so I'm going to have to get a plastic bag, branded plastic with an A that goes with my name, and we've almost got the same. But I'm not a market made for pleasure, and I'm not made of plastic for someone else's leisure. 2 dogs coming, going to give us a fright. 2 dogs coming, pulling with all their might. Don't want to get my ashy, because Frenchies are real bitches. Big ears and no bums and no tails. You can't see their twitches. Twitch is how they communicate. It's how we like to go on a date. I go on a date and twitch my nose, and the other person knows. That's my nose. We sit there twitching, noses in our hands, trying to scent out if the other is a man. a man or a woman? Who knows these days? What's beneath the shell of muscle and purple haze? Purple haze deodorant, Jimi Hendrix scent. Spent £25 on that on a market in Kent. I'm still in Kent, walking backwards down the road. Nearly got the plastic palace past the pleasure dome of old. Started at the industrial crashing metal waves, the waves that don't move and the cliffs that have stayed, at least for 8 years now, causing controversy among the locals. We all just want fish and chips and something made local. Everything is local now in the corona COVID crisis. Local broccoli and potatoes, local people shouting out their cars, local pesetas that aren't pesetas because they're euros, but we ain't got the euros because our government is dishy and doshy and wibbly and wobbly, like Dominic Cummings eating pudding and making a right job of it. What if I walked backwards on a little tiny map, stretched out my carcass and lost my rucksack?
I arrived at Margate on Wednesday. On the first occasion of lighting the illuminated clock in the tower, the old man who was deputised incautiously allowed gas to escape, and on his going up with a light, the 4 clock faces were sent to the cardinal compass points. Having recovered, I continued along the beach. There was a violent storm of wind, and the sea was covered with windbreakers, and there I came upon a somewhat eccentric, short gentleman, a fellow painter with a Cockney accent. I bid him good day and moved on. I continued towards the King's Head Inn, my house for smoking, when I happened upon a young lady.
My brother is the artist Gabriel Rossetti. He is extremely ill. He has asked me to come to Margate to Garner's Library to collect a copy of The Tale of Two Cities for him to read. Good morning, Mr. Sickert. Where are you headed?
Can you help me with this bed?
Not now, Tracy. That girdle will never amount to anything.
I left Mr. Sickert to his unruly students. I continued to my drinking place without my companion. There I met Vincent. He was rather down in the mouth.
From peculiarities I cannot change. My appearance, my way of life, my clothes. I shall always move in a different sphere from most painters because of my conception of things.
There is plenty of diversion here for the polite world, such as dancing, coffee houses, bath houses and playhouses. I am thought to be the best horseman here. 1 or 2 of the students came across to join us. I left them all in the company of Vincent, hoping that they would cheer him up where I had failed. Hayley, Alex and Angela, Lucy, Jill, to name but a few. I returned to my studio. All my male sitters disappointed me, some not very well, others could not get their hair dressed.